Hey guys.
Alright folks, we're here today to check out a Patreon request from this patrono right here. Ancient Bards with Soulbound Symphony. Expected to be very symphonic and soul-bounding.
Probably folky.
You going...
With the Bards.
Well, you could go with the Ancient. I mean, Ancient...
Ancient doesn't give very folky vibes.
Well, Bards do.
Bards definitely do. I mean, if you like Dungeons and Dragons... And
if you're into Blind Guardian.
Blind Guardian, there's a lot of Bards within that. In the South Park, the Stick of Truth, Jimmy is the Bard.
Really?
Yeah, dude, you gotta play those games. I have them. You can play
Never
them.
mind that. I gotta start watching South Park again.
And okay, but watch when they were doing the Game of Thrones stuff. You gotta watch that shit. Jimmy's a bard, and he's like singing. He's like, when I was young, like it's fucking. Oh my god! And the whole thing is because one group of them wants to buy a PS4, and the other group of them want to buy an Xbox One.
Wow, that is dated.
Yeah, and they're like, we're gonna do the Red Wedding at a Red Robin.
Oh my god! At least it was not at the Red Roof Inn.
Yeah,
could have been at that one too. All right, let's do this. Speaking of Red Wedding, heavy flow. let me start off by saying this. I normally don't take shots at drummers. I tend to not do that on the channel. But when I saw this guy playing the drums, so happy and moving his head side to side while holding two massive sticks, the first thing that came to my mind was Linda the Plug when she did that threesome video with that black dude and her husband. What was his name? Tyrone. And she was kind of doing the same thing he was doing. She was like holding two big sticks on one on each hand, and she was kind of going side to side, and he was kind of doing the same thing. So he kind of gave me some Linda the Plug vibes. If Linda the Plug was a drummer. She's not. She's a MILF. Just saying. Shout out to Linda the Plug.
Anyways, it was, see you guys next time.
Why, you didn't get that vibe? You didn't get the vibe?
No.
All right.
I did not get that vibe.
Listen, it's all in the eye of the beholder.
What's all in the eye of the beholder?
Like, I saw that, and my mind went there. Just gotta say that. It is what it is. It is what it is. All right. Anyways, I'm not saying that's what he was doing, but it's just what reminded me.
Okay, you don't have to keep going.
You know,
Let's move on.
He was very into it.
Let's move on.
All right.
Let's move on.
So, what do you think about this song?
I was gonna ask you. You need to redeem yourself.
I need to redeem myself. Man, it's... I gotta say this. When it comes to this genre, this style, like symphonic metal, either be like classic symphonic heavy metal or symphonic power metal, especially when it has a female singer, I feel like, I hate to say this, but I feel like Nightwish and Epica have kind of killed the genre. So any other band that comes in, I don't care how good you are, you're always going to be measured to that level.
No, I think realistically, if you can be good, but to make it in this genre, you need to be great.
That's what I'm saying. You're always going to be measured to that level. Mm-hmm. Like, they are the bar. And I feel like they're so exhausting in how good they are at what they do that they just kill it for everybody else. Like, they just kill it. Like, you don't say that about any other genre. Like, let's say you find the new thrash metal band or a new death metal band. You don't hear, regardless if it's a male or female singer, regardless. Nobody's going to say that, you know what, that was good, but, you know, we got Cannibal Corpse right here. Like, nobody says that. Because there's always room for one more, to quote Anthrax. There's always room for one more. But in this specific genre, there isn't.
There isn't, yeah.
It's like... And once again, this is not a diss to the band or to the song, because this is a good song.
They're a good song, but...
if you come to me and you say, listen to these guys, my answer is going to be, why? I can just go listen to those other two.
No, but it's not just that. It's also, there's a lot of bands that sound also like this that are not those other two.
Exactly. There's a huge gap between where those two are and then what everybody else is. And everybody else kind of just feels like one big
mush,
circle of all of them put together. So even though you're good, and you are good...
I've heard this same band like 4 other times.
I've heard the song 1,000,000 times, and it's a good song. I really want to emphasize that I'm
not turning it off. It's a good song. They're a good band. They have talent, but it's just in this genre.
The genre is saturated.
The genre is so saturated that it's a dime a dozen.
The same could be said with metalcore and deathcore, actually. Unless you have someone vocally that could really set the band apart, or you have a very specific style in your sound. Like for example, I'll give you an example really quick. Fit for an Autopsy, sound-wise, I'm not even going to talk about Joe's vocals, but sound-wise, there's no other deathcore band that sounds like them. They have a very specific tone to their guitars, to the way they put songs together.
And overall, they create songs different than any other band.
Exactly. So, but I feel like in this genre, it's a lot easier to get lost in the struggle. Like bands in this genre are good. Like they are good. You know what I mean? It's just that, it's another one. You know what I mean? I feel that way, and and I'm sure people watching will say the same. Like I said about deathcore, metalcore, another metalcore band sounds just like the other one with a breakdown and this and that. And there's a lot of truth to it, but it all comes down to what you personally feel saturated of. Like, what are you tired of, or how far is your bar within that genre that unless you're reaching that level, don't even bother me with it. So it really comes down to the individual and to what you feel and to what you listen to and to what your preferences are. Like, I like symphonic metal. I'm not a huge symphonic metal fan. Not a huge, like, I'm not one of those people that listens to Xandria all the time, or like all the symphonic metal bands like Serenia, all of these bands. I'm not. I like it. I enjoy it, but it's not my go-to metal genre, right? Um, and because of that, and because of how good those two bands are, everybody else is kind of like right here. And to me, I enjoy the song. It's a good song, but it's a song. And I mean this with absolutely zero disrespect to the band, because this is a good track musically and vocally. I thought the guitars and drums really good, the keyboards well played. Like, it's a really solid song all around. But I feel like I've heard these solid songs a million times before.
I was gonna say the same stuff though.
Were you?
Yeah, it's a good song, good band, but it's a dime a dozen. I've heard this same song.
And funny enough, I'm talking about Epica. Epica has a new album coming out, by the way. But Nightwish, for example, I even feel like Nightwish now are suffering from that same problem. With the last couple of records, it feels like we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just putting new rims on it. But it's the same fucking wheel. So
It's the same wheel, and the rims are also kind of bald a bit. Like, it's not. You're not
once
gonna get the best
done,
traction.
once you've done a song like Ghost Love Score, like, where do you go from there? You know what I mean? Like, the greatest show on earth, like songs like that, like
this
where
genre
you go
of
from
metal is suffering from success.
Yeah, because the success of certain bands
Outweighs the success of others.
but it also allowed others to try to follow into those footsteps. It's always like that. You have a band within a genre, like a lot of the success of deathcore these days is because of the success of Lorna Shore. So you could always tie the success of a genre to the over success of
Of a
one
certain
band,
band,
or two
yeah.
bands or three bands, whatever the case might be. Like, there was one point where thrash metal was the shit, and you could tie that to the big four. You know, either the German big four or the American big four. You know what I mean? So that is always that's always gonna exist. Like grunge, you can tie grunge to Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, like four bands.
Yeah.
There was a lot more than four bands when grunge was at its peak, but those are like
Those
the
are
big
ones.
four.
Yeah, those are the ones.
So you always
going
gonna tie it into the success of those, because those are the ones that broke the ceiling. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's my.
And there probably was a bunch of other good grunge bands that didn't get the light of day, but it's because they weren't those four or even close to those four. They were probably really good, but
but not to that level.
not to that level, or not even to a level close enough.
I agree. And that's the reason why those bands always going to have a much longer longevity, because they're able to surpass or be the ones that define what that genre is or what that sound is. Like with new metal, you look at Korn, look at Limp Bizkit, you look at Linkin Park, Slipknot, bands that define what that genre is. You know what I mean? So that's why they're still around, and other bands that play that same genre died out. You know what I mean? So,
or switch genres.
that happened quite a bit too. So, like I said, for me, it's a great song. More so musically actually than vocally, because vocally I thought it could have been better. In my opinion, it could have been better. It needed a few times for the vocals to go a little bit higher, because the song has a lot of emphasis. There's epic moments within the track musically, but the vocals always felt very controlled all the way through. And I felt like the vocals needed to go a little bit higher at times. It was like I was listening to a song from Frozen, where the vocals are very steady throughout. But on Frozen, the sound behind it never really gets epic either. It's very controlled. And in that environment works well. But if you have these big momentums musically, the vocals need to accompany it. Otherwise, they're kind of left behind. I felt on this track sometimes the vocals felt a little bit left behind. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah, all you can really do is be honest.
Do you have anything else to add before we call it a day?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
All right, guys.
Like, I think I said enough with a dime a dozen.
Okay.
Which was not me being rude. It's me being honest. Like, I've heard this same sound, the same, and I'm not taking anything away from the band. There are a bunch of very talented individuals. It's just that there's nothing about the music, at least from this song, there's nothing about it that stands out from the rest.
Okay.
You need that it factor.
I agree. Well, unless you're a fan of the genre, then you're just going to consume everything that comes out. That's a different story.
That's very true.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to the Patrono that requested. We'll see you all at the next one.
See ya.